Hello, this is the group 10 deconstruction of the movie Nausicaa, the Value of the Wind by Miyazaki. So first we will start by talking about the music used in the film. So at least like for me, one thing I noticed, like the music mostly picked up for like during like scenes with a lot of action, like in the beginning when we have like the introduction to like the and when Nausicaa is trying to like stop stop it from like chasing I think it was Yupa or it was someone else. But and then like the other scenes where they're kind of like fighting, the music got like really fast. And then it got like especially like kind of ominous when the kingdom got invaded by the Telmakians.
I also noticed with the music, like each object had its own like little chime going on as well.
Yeah, the music, it was kind of like it had like I guess you could say like dramatic tones and kind of like a classical feel. I think it was like in the beginning. I guess you could say that was more so like the theme song or whatever, because I feel like I heard that sound again. But yeah, it was like dramatic and like I feel like it had like a little classical feel to it.
And then I noticed like the music was kind of like majestic sounding at some points, like when we saw like Nausicaa's like her plant room, and then when they show like the under, I guess like the place like beneath the sea of decay, like the music sounded more like soft, kind of like twinkly, if it makes sense. But we can move on to the actors and casting. Um, I wasn't really sure how to go about this part since it was like an animated film, and I didn't really go to look, I guess, into the characters or like the actors too much.
No, same. I just have it as animated as well. I didn't know like how to do the casting for this one either. But I feel like animated makes the most sense, honestly.
Um, and yeah, I would just say that the voice actor for Nausicaa, um, I think fit the character because she was really, sweet and like trying to figure out, how to connect with the animals as well as, try and keep the peace and be sort of that balancing princess figure. Like when she talked to the little kids, I think it was just um, at least the voice acting sort of matched the characters. I think that's pretty much what we can say for like the goodness of the casting.
Okay, so we can go on to the editing and camera work. Um, I guess once again, like I don't know if there was much like camera work necessarily, but what I noticed like was there were a lot of like wide angle and like aerial view shots, I guess, to kind of emphasize the scenery in the movie. And then there were also a lot of shots where you could see like either like looking up or looking downwards. Um, it just kind of helped to emphasize like setting, like especially like in the scenes where they were in the sea decay, there were a lot of shots where it was kind of like you're looking upwards in a way to kind of like emphasize that you were like below something.
Yeah, I feel like since like most animated movies or whatever shows are always usually like brightly colored or whatever, like it's usually like something that you can see the with the contrast. I feel like it definitely showed that with like the different like how I guess like how they edited certain scenes, and like I feel like it was like very bright.
Yeah, and then I also noticed kind of like how certain colors were connected to like different things. Um, like I would say like gold represented life in a way, at least like in the scene where the was like reviving Nausicaa, there was like a lot of gold like light, and then they had the little gold strings, it seemed like. And then like after Nausicaa goes through the quicksand, she has like this flashback of like when she was younger, and like the whole scene was kind of gold. That was like the thing I noticed.
Yeah, I was gonna say basically like it was a lot of saturated colors. Like certain colors did pop out and were brighter more than other colors, but I did notice like with the earth tones, it definitely stayed like the shade of the earth tones definitely shade like a dull. You know what I'm trying to say? Like a dull shade. And like the more saturated, the more brighter colors, like the blues and the greens, they definitely made those colors more brighter.
Right, so you can go on to the script of the film.
I noticed within the dialogue that majority of them were positive or whatnot, that collectively they were all scared of the insects or whatnot. But even though they were all scared of the insect, they all trusted each other and trusted the princess' judgment no matter what. So like, that was something I noticed.
Yeah, that was one thing I noticed too. Like, I guess like pretty early on, it's like shown how like Nausicaa is like kind of brave and adventurous. Like even when the movie had like first started, I didn't really think that she was like someone of royalty. I thought she was just kind of like a scientist that was like exploring. So then like I guess the series like go back to the kingdom, and then seeing everyone like refer to her as a princess, and then like some of them like did kind of show like some concern about her like continuously going into the Sea of Decay just because it was so dangerous. But at the same time, they did seem to kind of like trust her judgment.
I also noticed that Nausicaa tried to be the peacemaker. There were a lot of scenes where they were saying like kill like the other people or the insects, and she was like, no, don't kill, stop the killing. There's too much, death going on, and there was a lot of violence happening, and so she was trying to be that calming force.
And I did kind of notice like the distinction between, I guess, like the people from the different like nations, I guess. Like the Telmekians were more like, I guess, aggressive, and like the way they kind of talked about the meanwhile the people from the Valley of the Wind, even though they knew that they were dangerous, they still like didn't want to like destroy the Sea of Decay just because they knew that there was like something like it's like supernatural about it, where they didn't really want to destroy it. And then the people from, I think, Pajite, um, even though like some of them they wanted to go ahead and destroy it just because of, I guess, the harm it had done to them, but there was still a good amount of them that were kind of like the people from the Valley of the Wind, where they were encouraging Nausicaa to like save the Sea of Decay, like, and save her village at the same time. So we could go on to the settings and the costumes.
The setting was basically the Valley of the Wind and like the Patuxi town and the Tacoma account, the T word town or whatnot. But I noticed with the costumes, it was like I felt like it was like a country mixed with a little sci-fi a little bit, like a tint of like medieval.
Yeah, that's kind of what I noticed. Like they all kind of had different like types of like clothing. Like the Pajites, they just kind of like they were kind of like from the desert, like based off of like how they were dressed. Like they all had like these little cloaks on their heads. And then the Telmekians, they all had like metallic wear. Like a lot of them were wearing like armor. But then the people from um, the Valley of the Wind, they just kind of dress like it's like regular village people. Like I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, you could like just tell based off how they're dressed, like they're from different places. And then like another thing I noticed was like just like based on the colors of the scenery, you could kind of like make distinctions of where they were. Like the Sea of Decay, whenever they were in that area, it was kind of like a blue kind of tint. Like most of the stuff would be blue in the scene. Um, and then like with the Ohms, like whenever they were calm, their eyes were blue, but whenever they were like angered or agitated, their eyes would turn like blood red. So like red was kind of like connected with anger in this sense. So finally, we can talk about the psychological impact of the film.
Um, I guess since this is more like about a environmental type of movie and just like I guess you could say like them just coming together for this cause, I guess um the impact was just, for me, what I got out of this is just, sticking together and, peacefully or something. Because it was kind of hard to like really point out really what was the psychological impact since it was kind of like animated and it really wasn't kind of like evidently like, out there. But yeah, I guess you could say it was about coming together for a greater cause and just, sticking together and yeah.
Um, I would say, I guess like the one thing I kind of picked up was like maybe like humans, I guess like being more cautious about their actions because like the Sea of Decay, even though they saw it as something like evil and like destructive, it was like actually correcting the harm that the people had done to the area. Like it was purifying all of the water that was like in the village. So I would say that was maybe one thing is like just like maybe having humans like just take a step back to like not make like immediate judgments, maybe.
I can definitely saw it as like the harmony of all life forms because like the Omens they get upset when you sit here and try to like destroy them, try and kick them out. they literally get upset. So like when you're not bothering them and basically being able to coincide together, everything's able to flow. Granted, it's all toxins and poisonous, but um, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's a ecological system. Like certain things have to happen in order to keep things running smoothly. And I think by the end, by having the princess be revived by the Ohms, it shows that kindness also goes a long way with coinciding, like with coexisting with each other. So I feel like it definitely just shows like if we can be able to respect each other's boundaries, we can be able to coexist with each other and live peaceful lives and help make the world a better place.
Yeah, I also agree with that. It was important to figure out how to live with different species in harmony. Um, I remember one scene with Nausicaa with I want to say it was a cat, I'm not sure, but when it first got to her, it bit her and she didn't like, freak out or anything. She was just like, oh, it's scared. And so she just figured out how to, find a middle ground for that. And so I think that was important to, communicate and see, why actions are made the way they are and just to figure out the middle ground.
And so I believe that wraps up everything for this movie. Overall, I thought it was pretty interesting, even though it was like I guess meant to be like more of a children's movie. I still feel like it was really well like put together with the editing and like all of the it's like the animation was done really good. Uh, and that this was like a fairly old movie also, so it was kind of like I guess like ahead of its time in a way. Um, but yeah.